5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. This is the pre-bye week edition, coming off a loss to the Detroit Lions. Detroit and the Green Bay Packers.
I don't think I did a prediction anyway.
You did do a prediction.
No, I
you
did.
Picked the Lions.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
And you were right. You were right.
Here's the thing, though, that you have to put it in perspective. This is not like a bully. No, it's different. A bully is different. This is like you can't beat your big brother while your parents are watching.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would think that Detroit's a team that's not going away. This is not the old Detroit, no. And I've told people this. Detroit took their car to the mechanic and said, take the brakes out. We're foot on the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who we play. And I don't care where we play at. They're an inside team, Tom, that's built for outside.
Yep.
And just listen to their head coach. We're built for this. We got a running game. We invested in the line. Some of the draft gurus wanted them to draft some. Nope, we chose Sewell, one of the best linemen. The other draft people didn't want them to get Gibbs. We're getting Gibbs. And they're built for that weather.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like playing your big brother. He's bigger than you. He's stronger than you. He's more experienced than you. And he's beating you at your own game. Because you're an outdoor team, an element type team.
Right.
You would think that it would be to your advantage. Because they didn't draw passes.
Yeah.
They weren't fumbling snaps.
Nope.
Something systematically is wrong there. And maybe a deep dive would be Halfley to study Ben Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
But don't study the sprinter in Canada, the coordinator.
He's good. He's good. He's really
So
good. He's going to be a head coach next year.
Remember, he could have been a head coach.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't want to go to, what was it?
He could have went 3. He could have went to Arizona. He could have went to 3 places.
I forgot.
Atlanta, you name it. He could have went, but he said, you know what? I love it here. And Jared Goff is the perfect guy. Because I don't know what this thing is about managing a game that's a negative. I love game managers.
If you got the pieces around you.
That's it.
Yeah, and he does.
Yes. But in closing, before you ask me questions, when I knew Jordan was going to play, I'm thinking the elements, his arm is strong enough for all that, but the thought process is I'm going to do too much. And I think LaFleur has to do the deep dive, and you have a running back that's 3rd in the league in rushing. Josh Jacobs got 13 carries.
Yeah.
You're a rushing football team, especially when you don't have your center.
Well, they did to start the game. I mean, that was their whole game, and then they fell behind, you know.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. When you're behind, what do people expect you to throw the ball, right?
Yeah.
They'll get in their nickel. They were averaging 7. He's averaging 7 yards.
Yeah.
You can get into the big plays, but when you're forcing it, I think you can still get into games in the NFL by running the ball when you're behind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done now.
Well, I want to make a point, and then I want to get back to what you were just talking about.
Okay.
I want to make this point because I'm going to forget about it if we don't talk about it now.
Janet says you forget a lot.
What you said about the Lions is 100% right. They're more experienced, and they're the big brother. Here's why. They got a head start on the Packers in rebuilding. They're both rebuilding the same way. They're both building through the draft. They both changed quarterbacks.
Yes.
You know, went from the veteran to a younger. Goff was still fairly young. But they've been in this process for 3 years.
Oh, it seems like forever. But
and the Packers are in the second year of this process.
Yes.
And somehow they have to mature faster to where they're the younger brother and all of a sudden they're become more athletic and they can beat their older brother.
Exactly.
They're not there yet. They're obviously not there yet.
No.
So, Detroit, give them all the credit. Now, the Jordan Love issue, I thought that playing in the rain with the groin would have taken all that hero ball out of him. Like, okay, just, you're going to be in shotgun the whole game.
Yeah.
Just take what they give you. Just don't do anything extraordinary. Our defense will keep us in the game, and you just don't turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
And he turned the ball over. So I don't know. How did they get him back on track?
Well, it's baked in the cake. So when it's baked in the cake, the process is done. It's up to him now. Because you have to understand that with 32 seconds left or whatever, sometimes it's good to just have a reset. Okay, you know what? I can't get it where I want to go. Let's just get into the half. They receive it in the second half. It's still a close game. I think it would have been, 10-3 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're receiving.
Right.
You know what? But sometimes the coach got to save me from myself.
I think that's accurate.
Yes, save me. And then sometimes I can save the coach from himself. So this ain't going good. Let's just go into the half and get a reset. The game maybe is different. That pick six, not only did it put him on track to people to say he throws a lot of interceptions. Well, the analytics say he started 25 games. He's up to 25 games. And he got 48 touchdowns. So it's only twice, I think, he's been played in a game that didn't have at least one touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they do in the bye week. The analytics people come in and they give you all these numbers. And as coaches, you ask yourself, is it time to try new people at new positions? Because we're at 9 games. And the rest of the 8 we have, we got to go 5-3 or 6-2. Now, we could do it because we did it last year.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan could be great. He was 18-1, 18 touchdowns, 1 interception. But when it's baked in the cake, there's nothing the coaches can do or say because you are who you are.
Yeah, but I think
so. It's up to him.
I think what you said about LaFleur getting him, LaFleur can help him. And I think some of it is with play calling, some of it is with play design. Some of it maybe take those deep options. Mm-hmm. Maybe you have to take some of that stuff away from him and force him into some other stuff because they've talked about it week after week after week. Don't. They want him to take his shots, but take your calculated shots. And he's just tried to do too much. I don't know how you reset him. If he can do it himself or if he needs help.
That's a great question. And I love teachers. I think teachers are the heroes other than my parents. I love my teachers. And my teachers used to always say that use words that can mean the same but not so derogatory, like taking something, then limiting those throws. Mm-hmm. Limiting means, okay, the weather's terrible, my ball's gonna hang up, it ain't worth it. Come back down, hit the check down, let's keep it moving.
Right.
The object in bad weather, because you remember we played the Bears in that monsoon up there, and our coaches kept telling us that you have to understand the elements.
Yeah.
Sometimes it ain't up to you.
Right.
So we're gonna help you by limiting your options a little bit. In other words, maybe we blitz a little bit more, and maybe we back off a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we work in sync, and you basically, the call sheet, you rip it up. And you go from what your memory is, how do I beat this team? And I get it. You're down 24-6, and stay tuned for X's and O's. We got some great plays. But you can still get back into the game But you got to get your quarterback to understand we don't need it all now. We need some.
Right.
Because we're taking on water, literally.
Yeah.
So we got to patch up some of this stuff.
And then he needs help, so he's playing hurt. Okay, that's fine, You give him a little bit of a break there.
He said he felt fine. He said he felt fine.
Yeah. But your receivers got to help him. You can't have 6 drops. Some of those passes were tough to catch, but they got to be made. You help your quarterback. Be the guy who makes that catch.
Well, here's the thing, though. Detroit didn't practice in the rain. The Packers did.
Yeah.
So their guys caught the ball.
Well, they only threw it 19 times.
18.
Or 18, whatever.
Fine.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
Yeah.
They were letting him throw the ball when he was backed up, and, it didn't matter. That team goes against everything people stand for because Ben Johnson don't care about the weather. I'm calling my stuff. If they're going to take those kind of risks, we can't drop balls.
Yeah.
Because if they catch half of those passes, it's a different ball.
It's a different game. Yeah, absolutely.
Matter of fact, they may win by 10.
Take away the interception, and it's a completely different game.
Yes.
Include the interception and take away the drops, and it's not a completely different game, but it's closer.
Yes.
And then remove the penalties,
and
then maybe it's a little bit more of an even game. Now, I'm going to ask you this question. Penalties are often thought of as undisciplined play, reflective of poor coaching or whatever. I think the opponent has something to do with your penalties, too.
Sometimes.
I think the caliber of your opponent forces you into making some bad penalties.
Mm-hmm.
False starts. Sometimes you're anticipating your guy, he's beaten you once or twice, right? And so you're trying to get off the snap quicker and boom. Other times it's mental errors. But I want to know what your opinion is. Were there penalties self-inflicted, or did Detroit play a part in causing some of those penalties?
2 things can be true, but pre-snap penalties is mental because you're trying to get an advantage.
Yeah.
Or you may not know, or you lost track of the clock and get a delay of game, or you're locked in, you ain't listening to nobody,
right?
And you're just focused in. That's what drives coaches crazy. The pre-snap penalties. When the ball snaps and some guy's holding, it's kind of part of the game in a way, but the false starts, that kind of stuff.
They had 4 false starts.
Yes.
2 of them played a direct role in them probably not scoring. One, I think, knocked them out of, or played a role in them missing a field goal, and the other, they were all, all but one were on 1st and 10. So then they're facing 1st and 15. And that just kills you to be at 1st and 15.
Yeah, the frustrating part about that is I don't think many call sheets have, what do I call them, 1st and 15.
Right.
And then you got to also remind Jordan, we don't need the whole 15. We're going to run the football. We're not interested in tackling number 8, man. He was just running through guys. And then it seemed like to me, I don't know, but they want to play 30 a lot. It seemed like that. So if that's the case, I don't know what the role 31 is, but you had 3 healthy backs. You could have threw at them, and then those guys will come up.
Right.
And then you can hit these guys deep, but you got to catch it, and you got to make plays.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, and I know Josh Jacobs had a bit of an ankle injury, but
that guy's a warrior,
you got to get him the ball in other ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got 8 in the box. You got to figure out how to swing
Doris
the ball.
11 and Edgar Bennett used to catch 8 checkdowns.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, the middle's wide open.
Yeah.
That's 5, 6, 7 yards. The good thing about a bye week, though, Tom, is the offense has to, at this point, has to evolve, catch up, or stick with it, and y'all gotta just play better. My system is awesome.
Yeah.
My system is great. But sometimes as coaches, because they put in their hours, and I applaud them for that. But sometimes you gotta save me, and I gotta save you, because the good thing about it, you're 6-3.
Yeah.
But the bad thing about it is your brother, who always asks you to come play one-on-one, and he beats you at your game. It's almost like your brother say, I tell you what are you good at? Free throws.
Yeah.
Because I'm 90-something%. And your big brother's maybe 60%. Mm-hmm. But when he play you,
he's 95%.
95%.
Well,
so they got to figure that out.
You know what's really interesting is, think about it. The Packers, you say the Lions are better outdoors. I think the Packers are better indoors. I think they're a better indoor team than they are an outdoor. You know, where did they win last year? In Detroit, in Dallas. You know, I mean, they at Minnesota. They were really good. I just don't think they're really built for that kind of conditions.
It would seem like the Packers are built for indoors because they got the great young receivers,
speed,
big arm quarterback.
Right.
And Detroit is built for outside.
Yeah.
Because they got two-headed monster, good young tight end, and they got one of the best slot receivers. The other receivers are just there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just double 14. They had a great game plan.
And they did have a really good game plan. Now, let's talk about the defense. On paper, it looks like they gave up 24 points, but they gave up 17.
Yeah.
And that should be good enough to beat Detroit. Detroit's scoring 33 points a game.
Yes.
And they held them to 17. Now,
Yeah.
weather was part of that. They were conservative. They didn't have Jamison Williams. But what did you think of the way they approached that?
Well, the defense to me, it just seemed like to me, lining up was an issue. You have to line up properly. And it just seemed like the defense was shocked that this team would go for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
They were 2 for 2. And they went for it in the red zone.
Right.
They ain't kicking no field goals.
Yeah.
No, they're going to go hard, count 1, 2 to jump off, so it's closer. Because we got the one play for Amon St. Brown to run a double move on 25.
Yeah.
We've been practicing it all week because we know they're going to jump. If you don't jump, maybe they still go for it. But it's another thought process. In this weather, why don't we take the field goal?
Yeah.
But when you jump and it's closer, that team is built for, okay, fine, it's fourth down. They think we're going to throw it out to the trip side. We're going to hand it off to Gibbs, wide open touchdown.
Yeah.
I think the alignment, assignment, and execution of the defense was bad, but they still played good enough to win. Neither one of these backs got like 130 yards. They only had they held them overall to like 3.9 yards a carry. It was just a few times.
Right.
It was just a few times that Montgomery was slamming through in Gibbs and it wore him down.
I wonder, and I want your thought on this. First series, LaFleur again decides to take the ball, and I don't know if this is some kind of analytics thing now that you're supposed to take the ball or what. But, okay, they take the ball, and they drive down, and they have a 4th and 5 after Brooks drops the ball. Why didn't he go for it?
Well,
at home, chance to go up 7-0. If you don't get it, you got them pinned back.
Yeah.
Field goals aren't. I didn't feel like a field goal was going to make a difference.
On the opening?
Yeah, the opening drive. So, it was 3rd and 5. He threw to Brooks. He dropped it. I think they were at the 12-yard line.
Yes.
Go for it.
Well,
what do you think?
Here's why I was okay with it. When you first come out and accepted the ball, that's arrogance. That I want to get the momentum.
Right.
So you got to score.
And
so if you can get 7, great. But if you get 3,
if you get stopped,
If you get 3, it does demoralize the other team just for a few seconds.
Well, does it, or is it like, hey, they were ramming it down our throat, and we just held them to a field goal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe
Of
that's
course.
the other way. Maybe Detroit came out of that.
Of course.
Whereas if you went for it,
Yes.
yeah, Detroit
Yes.
would have been really fired up if they stopped you.
Oh, no question about
But
it.
if you scored on them,
Yes.
that would have been pretty big.
See,
risk.
that's where
so it's a calculated thing.
Yeah, and that's where one team car has brakes, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, it's all gas.
And that's why they didn't probably go to the Super Bowl, because there's no brakes. When they're up in San Francisco, they play one way, and you can admire that in a way, because everybody's on the same accord. We all agree this is what we're doing.
Right.
So you can use that against them by catching the ball. Don't throw picks.
Yeah.
That's how you beat them in Thanksgiving. They're going to give you some opportunities.
Yeah.
Because even they were still trying to throw the ball, and they were up because they wanted to put you away.
Yeah.
He could have easily thrown a pick, but they trust him. And
well, they're so good at playing ahead. You know, as soon as they're ahead, it's really hard to beat them because they can run the ball.
Yes.
Their defense is tough. The Packers needed to be in charge of that game early, and they couldn't do it. So that was a big factor, too.
So we'll get into a little bit more in the X's and O's, but it's just certain plays that makes you want to pull your hair out.
Still some things that need to be ironed out, and we'll be looking at those in X's and O's, so be sure you join us.
Yes.
And
I'm speaking of which, well, we don't have a prediction, but my uncle, Charles Durham, we call him Uncle Vaughn, he's a huge fan of the show. And I just want to tell him that I love him, because he was, not having a father in the house, because my mom and dad split up when I was really young, and he was the guy who had to take me out and talk to me about sports and things of that nature. And I was a huge Cowboy fan, and I remember he was a Pittsburgh fan, and he explained to me that, losing and winning, you can't win all your games. You're not going to go undefeated. You're going to lose some games. But it's how you bounce back from that builds character. And hearing a character is something that you got to have. See, I do everything based on character. I vote on character. I go to restaurants based on the character. So the character of this Packer team is something that they can get that my uncle gave me. The good thing about the NFL, you can always redeem yourself. But you got to show character when you're in these games, it doesn't bother you, and that you can come back and win games. So with that being said, I want to thank Milwaukee WindowGuys.com. We closing fast to the last, we're into the last home stretch now. But just mention LEAP, and they'll give you a 20% discount on already lower prices. And actually we're Pick and Save. We're getting ready for all our stuff, the bus stuff. So we'll be helping, thousands of families, actually in Florida and in Wisconsin. And I also want to say that to all the families out there, I know that it's getting close to Thanksgiving, but I just want to let you know that myself, Tom, everybody, wish everybody the very best of everything. And the last thing, go help somebody who you don't know. Help somebody who you don't know.
all right, there you go. Okay, well, we will see you after the bye, and everybody enjoy your Sunday off.
Oh, my uncle has a subscription, too.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Good. Excellent.
Yeah. You would think he would hit me up for a free one, but he paid for it.
Yeah, well, you should have paid for it. Anyway, thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.